welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. We've been waiting a week. We're back for Temptation Island Season 3, Episode 3. Now, where would you like to start today?
Well, it started with the fire pit, didn't it? We got the back end of, we only saw two girls' videos of their boyfriends last week, didn't we? And we had Kristen and Erin's videos, which I think they did the right thing because it was a bit tamer this episode for me, Dave. Kristen, yeah, she saw the video of Julian. Nothing happened. I mean, he was about to get a lap dance, but she did say, which I thought was quite good, it stops. I don't know what to think. You know, I can't see anymore. And he was very thingy, Mark Wahlberg, saying that this is just a snippet, guys. There's no context before. There's no context at the end. They've never really done that, Dave. He's quite clever the way he's done that this time. But yeah, I think Kristen and Erin, I mean, Erin's just a fucking wreck. I don't know whether she's cheated on Corey or what, but she seems really guilty about something.
Yeah, I well, going back to Kristen, right? So the thing I found interesting from that didn't really show a lot. We saw the actual clip, and he backed away so far he fell off the chair, didn't he? You know, that was what happened next. Whereas she doesn't see that. She just sees that and is like, well, does he grab her ass? Does he, what actually happens there? So I thought her reaction was quite measured, but the most interesting thing I thought was she said he's not just cheated once, he's cheated twice. And she's still, she's still carrying on with it. And like, fair play to Mark Wahlberg, he does call her out and says, I think you're pretty comfortable. So are you going to actually step out your shell and make yourself uncomfortable? So, she said she's working on it, but that was a bit of a revelation, wasn't it? It's like, look, you know what? You've caught him twice as well. How many times is it really? So, yeah.
Yes, very good point.
Yeah, I just think he might actually play a good game in this in Temptation Island, maybe. If he's trying to prove a point, but fuck me, if someone's cheated on you twice, you should just fucking wake up and smell the coffee, really.
Yeah, she should. And I think that, you know what, it's not even crossed my mind that, Dave. He's done probably half a dozen relationships behind her back then, hasn't he? Like I know we're guessing here completely, or I'm guessing, but you're right. How many has he not been caught doing? Yeah. So I think he's a bit of a serial cheat. They've been together 11 years. Is he doing what happened in the first season of Temptation Island? Is he cheating on her because he doesn't want to be with her and he wants to try and give her reason to split up? I don't know. I honestly don't. I mean, she mentioned about the families being really close and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, well, I'm surely her family, the first one, nobody likes being cheated on. It would probably be awful for her. But the fact that he's done it twice and the families are still close, but how must they feel about him? They always think he's a right dick. Really strange.
Yeah, so it's going to be a difficult one, isn't it, to untangle? But yeah, I think what did I put these as? A 3 out of 10, I think. I think these have just gone down a notch. So even if he's a perfect gent in this whole series, I think at some point she's got to wake up, hasn't she? She's probably never been told those home truths. She's in an environment where people will tell her the truth here. Whereas at home, especially if all their families are so close, they're not interested, are they? They just want to see the happy couple. When are you getting married? When are you having babies? All those kind of conversations. So, yeah, I'll stick with my initial prediction of 3 out of 10. I was wobbling a bit after we did that recording because obviously they've been together for 11 years and that does count for quite a lot. But yeah, I'm sticking with my 3 out of 10. You mentioned about Erin as well. I really think we'd seen from episode 1 to episode 2, and then episode 3's just carried on from where 2 left off. I think she's realizing the problem's her. She's being very, very uncomfortable, and she realizes that she's been giving Corey a hard time when actually the problem is really her. She's just reflecting off those negative feelings onto Corey. And the reason I could say that, I'm not guessing at what what's happened there, you get pretty much the same story from both Corey and Erin, don't you? They both, when they're talking to other people, it's the same narrative that, Erin's giving him this hard time. She's thinking that the grass is always greener, and she's realizing now, you know what, he's not such a bad old bloke after all. But it might be
Yeah.
too late.
No, you're right. And I didn't, when I was talking before, I wasn't talking about Kristen, sorry, Dad. I meant Erin, as in, I think Erin's got a really guilty conscience.
Yeah.
Something's gone on there, because if you're completely taking the blame for your relationship, that's not usually a good sign. That for me, I might be wrong, and we don't know anything that's happened. It's not been mentioned like it has with Kristen and Julian about his infidelity. But Erin to me just seems too guilty, and I honestly think that she's done something along the lines. But I will say there, because we got called out by our good friend Terence, and obviously he did say you've been married for too long because you stuck up for all the girls, right? So I'd not realised, and I had to go back and listen to it. So fair enough, Terence. Yeah, all right, I get you. However, I'm still sticking to a couple of the things, but I do think Erin is the villain of that relationship. Julian, there's no excuse. He cheated on her twice. He said it was 5 years previous. Fine, but he still cheated on her. And that's not, there's always going to be insecurity there. And does she really trust him? But with Erin, there's something she's not telling us, Dave. There really isn't. And she's really attracted to these athletic guys, isn't she? Really is. Corey's not, he's not like he's out of shape or anything, Dave, but she really has a thing. I think it's the fact that they have so much in common, and she really seems to appreciate somebody who has that set of rules and that deadline and diary every single day to do, don't they? They have certain goals they have to hit, and I don't think Corey understands that, and that's where I think his insecurity comes.
Yeah, and we were talking, weren't we? We were saying about a professional, was she actually a professional soccer player? And I looked it up, and she's like a college level player. So I know they have the college system, in the US, so it's slightly different from over here. But again, I don't really see that she's stepping up to LA Galaxy or anything. So, but I do think she's got this thing. She's hung up about, dating an athlete, and then when we get the boys around the fire pit as well, Corey pretty much says, doesn't he? He's worried about her dating a professional athlete. She knows that she's done that in the past. In episode 1, she was talking about, being away and all these parties and everything, and she's very outgoing, and, Corey's not that. And I don't know. I'm not going to accuse her of cheating for something that we haven't seen on the show. But you can see where A goes to B sometimes, doesn't it? Sometimes it's Occam's razor. It's the most straightforward. The simplest answer is the right one. But no, and to the point about giving the blokes all a hard time, I think out of the 4 relationships, I think it's half and half. I can see the main issue with Corey and Erin being Erin, to be honest. It seems like it's her driving all of this. With Chelsea and Tom, I'm not a particularly big fan of Tom, but I think it's mostly Chelsea, and I'm sure we'll come back to her in this episode as well. I think it's her insecurities driving a lot of the issues in that relationship. Whereas I think Kendal and, Julian, I think Kendal will be the first one to go on the show, and we know Julian's had previous. So, yeah, it's half and half for me.
Yeah, I think so. And like you say, going onto the guys' fire pit, it wasn't really anything, was there, Dave? There was no like when the girls had watched the guys' stuff, it was a bit risque, wasn't it? The actual girls who were there to tempt him, there was a good bit of chat, good bit of flow, especially Kendal. Kendal's the one who stuck out more than anything. I think I'm not sure the validity of what Tom's saying. However, I do think that Chelsea tonight may have shown a hand, and I may have jumped in a bit too early on Tom. I don't really like him. I don't trust the guy. I think he's a bit more sneaky than what he's putting on, and that narrative of her being insecure. But some of her actions tonight are just like that. She wants somebody to sit there all night rubbing her feet or using them as a fucking puffet when they're on all fours, because she literally wants the attention from the minute they get up to the minute they go to bed, Dave. And I don't think that's healthy in a relationship.
No, not at all. But
It,
what did you think? So sticking on Chelsea and Tom, then, what did you think of his kind of, his little clip around the fire pit? And he's saying he saw the clip where um, she's talking to Blake, and they're talking about having the same hobbies like um, snowboarding and was it snorkeling or something, scuba
yeah,
diving, I think it was, wasn't it? And Tom's like, yeah, yeah, seems like she's developing a connection, but between us, there's no emotional void. And Mark Wahlberg's like, well, you're not here if there's no void, are you? And he
yeah.
seems to be in complete denial, to be honest. What do you reckon to how Tom kind of reacted there?
Like I say, Dave, not a big fan of Tom's, and again, he just seems to think that because he has to do this networking thing, she's really hung up on his flirting and really is, and I don't like. I must admit, Dave. So let me talk about Tom. So Tom, I think he's a snake. I think he has probably done stuff behind the back, or he's got maybe he has flirted. We don't know. This is just my opinion. Terence, don't come after me, please. But this is just my opinion. However, she tonight for me was like, no, if she's like that on this show and she's an emotional wreck, what is she like in real life? Is she stalking him on social media? Is she checking his phone? Is she, you know what I mean? Is she checking his work appointments? I don't know. There seems to be some real insecurity for her. And I think tonight, I don't necessarily sway towards Tom, but she really kicked herself in the teeth for me tonight because I genuinely thought that's too much. If that was me, that's just too much, Dave. We all get insecure. We've all got jealous, but she really has. There's something not right there.
Well, so the tell for me, and I had this opinion before this episode that she was the kind of needy one and the one who's driving that negative behavior through her own insecurities was the fact that she's developing this thing with Blake, even though there's some red flags with Blake, I have to say.
Yep.
So even though she's got those, she's still wanting to take him on the second date and everything. But then she's moaning to Erin near the end of the episode that basically he should be here for me and he's busy off, being everyone else's shoulder to cry on. And, he's doing the same as Tom did. And so I'm kind of thinking if you're taking two completely different people and you're saying it's exactly the same, guess what, Chelsea? The problem is not them.
It's you. Yeah, I agree.
I don't believe it. Exactly the same problem has followed me.
Again, it's one of them people again. You know what though, Dave? And I'm glad you put up about Blake. He's a blagger.
Yeah.
All I'm waiting for him to say, Dave, is the classic line that we've seen in The Bachelor and Bachelorette is, I just want you to be happy. Fuck off. He's come in there. I'm like a father figure to all of them. I like to feel as if I'm the dad of the family. Why? You've been in there 2 days, you dick. Nobody cares about you other than the fact that you're trying to put it on Chelsea. What sort of conversation is that, Dave, when you're in a house like that? It's like, oh, come on, mate. You're trying to make yourself look like the ultimate nice guy. And in the end, Chelsea fucking started crying over him. She's like, oh, I don't know. I just don't, I want to say, I don't feel happy or something she said. And that was about Blake. And I'm like, he was just saying the typical reality show DNA stuff to come in and try and swoop the other girl away. It was classic Love Island, Bachelor, exactly the sort of thing I've seen over and over before.
Do you reckon Blake puts like polish on his beard or something?
Well, Dave, if she swaps Tom for Blake, I don't think she's going to see much difference of black hair dye on the fucking pillar, do you? Tom's is not
remarkably black, isn't it? His beard.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't take my eyes off it. I'm like, if you put the old, Grecian 2000 on it to make sure it's really, really black, it doesn't look quite right to me. Now, it might be the colouring on my TV or something, but no, it's a bit odd. And I tell you what, so I know we're jumping around a bit. I will just say, so finishing off the fire pit bit, Kendal just doesn't seem arsed at all what Erica's doing. He's not there to save his relationship, so watch this space there. But so I'm going to fast forward to the conversation. So we called out Evan, as being a bit of a tool in the last episode. He had the whole argument pretty much with Kristen about, it's night one and, what's she here for? She's not opening up. It's like, look, I've been here for at least 2 hours and you've not jumped into bed with me. What the fuck are you here for? But he kind of held court with the girls. And I found that conversation really fucking weird again, because he's sort of half apologizing, but to me, he has this tremendous sense of entitlement. It's like we're all the singles, you're all the couples, and you as the girls are here for us. So come on, lighten up, have a party and stuff. And I just thought, I just found it very, very weird. And it got more weird when they're trying to press him about, well, who's told you what, and Blake literally comes and sits down, and then Evan says, "Oh, Dr. Blake told him that the girls feel about him a certain way," and I'm like, "What? This is just fucking weird." And then that's where you're seeing, Blake's mask, his persona start to be exposed straight away. He's just a fucking lad, isn't he? He's just giving it all the chat to the boys and that about what he's going to do probably, and I just think that conversation was really interesting. And then Blake's like, "Oh no, let's not cause drama." And the girl's like, "What drama? What are you talking about?" So again, I think Evan was trying to smooth things over. I don't think he did, but in the meantime, he's sort of thrown Blake under the bus as well.
Well, Dave, after watching fucking Bachelor for the last few weeks, nothing surprises me. It's just typical of trying to enhance himself in the villa. And I think what I find weird about that dynamics of the guys who are trying to tempt the girls, I've not really seen any of them they don't seem genuine to me at all. I don't see anybody who stood out as being genuinely into them, other than the fact that they're just because them two lads in the fucking diary room when they were going, they were saying to I don't know which girl it was, saying, "Well, if you're," and they're right, it's what we said last week, is if you're in a steady relationship, oh, it was Chelsea, I think, and she said, "Well, he had to persuade me to come on the show," and he's like, "Well, if you're in a relationship or you're solid, why would you bring yourself on a TV show to be tempted by a load of guys?" And that's true. We were joking about it, weren't we? Saying, how has that happened? It's obvious. Like, we've even question the validity. Even are Chelsea and Tom even in a relationship? And they're just actors and actresses. I'd probably sway towards them more than the others, because the Erin and Corey thing is ridiculous. And speaking of Corey, Dave, if you don't mind, he picked Amanda, and I missed all that stuff with Nicole.
Fucking hell.
She's crazy, her, Dave. I'm sorry. I couldn't work out. She went from like 1 to 100, and I was thinking, hang on a minute. What? I rewound it. I'm like, I've missed something here. He literally said, it wasn't like he singled her out nastily. He said a comment, didn't he, that she's a bit hot and heavy, sort of, as in she's just too full on. That's it. He doesn't want that. So he picked Amanda, and she went, "You just do. I'm really into it when I fall in love." And I'm like, wow, you've been here 2 days. What is going on?
You know what, Chris? I think if I was there, Homer Simpson backing into the hedge will be coming out, because it's like, fucking hell. I don't think, from the other seasons, I can't recall someone going completely over the top like this. Actually, it wasn't. The guy in season 2 had the threesome. One of the girls, the girl who kind of stepped in to make the 3, she seemed a little bit, full on from the word go. And obviously Corey had taken Nicole for the first date. But again, it's this like single sense of entitlement that, well, we've been on a date. I thought we were a couple now. Now, to be fair, if you're an expert game player, I guess you would say, if it was Love Island, you'd probably go and have a chat with your existing the person who you coupled up with and shared a bed with. You probably have that or you may have that conversation first to try and avoid any drama down the line. I think Corey's a bit more green than that, though, isn't he? He's a bit more naive. He's not there. He's in his head. He's still coupled up with Erin, so he's going to meet other people. That's the start, middle, and end of it. And she's talking about being in love with him. And it's like, fucking hell. I hope we've not got any bunnies.
John Wayne Bobbitt him, Dave. Fucking
Okay,
hell.
no, yeah.
I'm
So
telling you.
that was from left field. That I can't remember who she was talking to now in the kitchen, but you can see Corey is about 5 foot away or something. So he's right there, and she's shouting about like how she's been dissed, kind of thing, and being made to look dumb. That's just like, oof. You might have just dodged a bullet there,
Yeah.
because we talk about the couples and their motivation to come on the show. I think I don't know what some of the singles. I think half the guys are just there to get their end away, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And actually, I think probably half the girls are as well. We'll come on to Kendall's blonde girl whose name I can't remember. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think he's probably going to steer clear of Nicole from now on.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. She just got a brilliant TV, but just ridiculous. But I will say,
Great.
Dave, you're talking about, can we talk about Kendall again? Because
Yeah.
I've said all along, he don't give a, like you said before, he don't give a fuck about Erica. He's definitely cheated on her. And look, I know Terence called us out, but come on, Terence, you've got to say this guy he's definitely a player. He's not, well, if he's not a player, he just doesn't care about that relationship and he wants out, basically. He may never have cheated on her, right? So I could be wrong there, but he genuinely has just gone there to have a party. He tells the girl, there's no rules. I'm not going to let it ruin my experience. You can see the chemistry between them, Dave. She's not holding back one bit. She definitely wants a piece of Kendall. And obviously, by the end of the episode, they share a little kiss, don't they?
Yeah.
Literally in the bedroom. That's going to carry on that. I mean, she is really into him. And look, if his relationship with Erica is wrong, and like I said, the motives for coming on a show like this, if 2.5 years together, is just ridiculous if you're going to do that. But I think it's hard he's got to have some respect for Erica, because she's going to watch this back and be like, what the hell? I've not seen much from her. And she went on a date, didn't she? But I wouldn't, on the boat date, but I wouldn't say with her that I've seen anything bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's made to feel
No.
good and all that. But Kendall, for me, is a classic. He don't give a fuck, Dave. He's great to watch, but he's not wanting her. I don't think he's going to want Erica back at the moment.
No, I think it's pretty obvious. And I wasn't sure, because we're watching this, week by week. I wasn't sure what is the kind of time period, but someone said earlier on the episode, like, it's day 2. It's like, oh, come on. Fucking hell, this is full on for day 2. You know what, Chris? I every time Kendall pops up on the screen, though, I'm dying for some Kendall mint cake.
It's nice, that as well, isn't it?
It's lovely, isn't it? So to our American listeners, Kendal is a place up in the Lake District. So it's a place where people go walking and, canoeing, rock climbing, all that sort of stuff. Beautiful part of England. And Kendal has this particular mint cake. So it's like, it's minty, isn't it? With chocolate all around it. Really, really nice. But anyway, Kendall, the person, not the mint cake that I'm currently craving. Yeah, he's trying to play it cool, isn't he? And then that's making her, a bit more hot and heavy. She's saying about how she's got this sexual energy when she's around him, and when the credits rolled tonight, I'm like, oh, come on, dude, we want to know what's happening there, because they're doing this kind of standoff thing, aren't they? They both just want to hop into the bed. I do have to say, it kind of reminded me of being back at university. That was definitely Kendall's room, wasn't it? The bed's not fucking made. He's left his iron out there and everything. So it just made me laugh. But
can I just say,
go on.
Sorry, Dave. I just got to crush it. Can I just say though as well, is when you're watching this unfold and all this stuff, I'm like, if that was me doing that, and I'm bloody married and stuff, but if you're in a relationship like that, you think he's got to be in your head. What, you're not going to get away with it, are you? Whatever you do on these shows, these cameras everywhere. What do they think the process is? This is where I think a lot of these couples are set up, Dave. I think there's only one, Julian and Kristen, and I'm even not sure they were even together when they came into this show. I think From what I've read, they were saying that they weren't really together as such. So I don't know. I don't know if the village, but I don't think they don't give a shit. There's got to be a screening process to get them in there.
I think the great move though is the alcohol, isn't it? You know, you can tell a lot of them are
Yeah.
slurring their words and stuff, and so they're getting quite drunk, a lot of them. And like when
Yeah.
Kendall's just, he's sort of laying on the bed there, and he's reaching out with his foot to kind of rub her ankles a little bit with his foot, and it's like, they're all because they're just on that flirty level, but they're taking it up a little notch, having a little bit of a kiss. It's like, unless something worse happens, in the day, the next fire pit, that's great material right there. You don't even have to do anything else. All you have to do, give her a snog, got hands right on her ass. That's
Yeah.
enough to send Erica over the edge. She doesn't need to see any more than that. And of course, because the devious bastards, they say, oh, well, stuff happened after this as well, but you're not going to see it. She's going to think the worst anyway. We're thinking the worst, aren't we? And even if nothing happens on this particular night, we know episode 4 next week is going to go to the next level, isn't it?
It is, and that's a great point, Dave, because they're not going to show Kendall and the blonde girl talking to each other and just having a chat about the relationship, are they, Dave? And then admit the fact that he put his hands on her ass and then they had a snog. That's, 100. And to be fair, it might tip Erica over the edge, so Dave, and she might go, right, well, fuck it, all bets are off. I'm going for it with someone. You might see her do a complete 180 next week.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that before, haven't we, on the season?
Yep.
Where it's like, right, the reins are off. And then I keep thinking back to the ginger guy who's on the last season, who was like, yeah, I wouldn't be bothered if we split up, and ends up like a blubbering wreck by the end of the season.
Oh, what about, I keep thinking about him with the wig on Singletown, the ginger lad who thought he was God's gift, and then
Oh God,
she
yeah.
binned him
Yes.
off, didn't she?
It's the other guy. Yeah, the guy from Birmingham.
Yeah,
Thought he
he
was
come in
all
there,
that.
yeah, and then he ended up crying and wanted her back, and she was like, "Nah, mate, see ya."
Yeah. You're right. It's exactly the same scenario, isn't it? It's like, I'm God's gift. Everything is on my terms, and then as soon as they find out actually it's not, they just do a complete 180. So, yeah, I think Erica will, but I don't see. She's not going to go from day 2 to day. She's not going to see that, and then the next day, start exploring a relationship with someone. But I think it might happen over a few weeks as we see it. Chris, let's talk about Tom. Right. So again, from the first moment we've seen them, even from the previews, they're this bickering couple, Tom and Chelsea. He goes to the fire pit. He's talking about they've got this. There's no emotional void. They connect on a very deep emotional level, and then obviously it's editing, but he seems to take a shine to the Latina girl, who I'm afraid name
I'm the
I
same.
don't actually know.
Yeah,
But he's sort of sat there. He's got this big shit-eating grin on his face. She's there with a bra top that barely covers her breasts, Chris. They're hanging out all over the place. And he's like, yeah, well, you're totally my type. Again, I'm thinking, he sort of gets a Lily, doesn't he? He puts her in her hair, and he's taking flirting to the extreme, isn't he? Well, not the extreme, but he's knocking it up a notch. And I'm thinking again, Tom, if you're serious about this, you know exactly that. You don't have to show anything else, right? Just show at the fire pit the footage of you saying, you're my type, putting a lily in her hair. That's it. And Chelsea will go
yeah,
fucking off the ledge.
yeah, yeah. I agree. And I don't know what her name is either, Dave, because she's the one who gave the proper catwalk walk, diva walk, didn't she? And strutted his
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
at the
yeah.
start. So he said to her, and she gave him a peck on the cheek, and she's like, "Oh, you deserve that." And I was thinking they were going to go for it at one point. I thought, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So Chelsea, Dave, and she is going to go fucking nuclear next week. When she sees that, she's going to go mental.
I think there's probably another week's worth there. This is more of a cute thing. I'm not buying the fact that this Latina girl is into Tom. But if you need to stay on the show, if you're a single on this show, and you're not going to get voted off. You have to create connections with someone.
Yeah,
So
you do.
I think that's more of a tactical play, that. And
Yeah.
I don't really see anything else. But like I say, it's fucking great TV, Chris. I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's been good. It's good. I just want to talk about one last couple, Dave. Erin and Shaquille. Shaquille made a great play with Erin. The great bit of chemistry between them.
Yeah.
And he even said, didn't he, I'm just going to swoop in there and basically do everything that a boyfriend isn't. And he seems like, to be fair, he seems like a really nice guy. And there was a connection there between them, definitely. And she was really excited about the date. So that could be where Erin sort of finally says, "Look, this is it. This is the end of it." I don't know. I'm completely jumping from 1 to 100 there, but I did see a nice connection between them.
Yeah, no, they had some good conversations, didn't they? It was better than when she went on a date, because when she went on a date with that ex-footballer, it was just all about, playing football and stuff. And it just seemed like a very dull one-note conversation, whereas these
Yes.
two do seem to have a genuine connection there. And again, it's weird how she's so remorseful at the fire pit, and then the next day she's like really trying to create this connection with Shaquille. So it'd be interesting where that one goes. I have to say, there's no one out of shape on this show, but I think Shaquille and Jesse are fucking built like Adonises, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a PT, so that's essentially what he does for a living. But I think you saw them all the guys working out, making sure they're looking good for the camera and everything. So yeah, I think with Shaquille and Erin, it's watch this space. I could well see that she's going to go there. I think the stuff we've seen in the first, but more so episode 2, is her having a wobble. She knows something isn't right with her and Corey, but the risk of losing, it's stick or twist time, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think the risk of ending up with no one is probably something that, she's feeling quite remorseful potentially about. And, I'm sure she has feelings for Corey, but I think that might just be a bit of a wobble. And I think if
Yeah.
she does have a bit of a strong connection with Shaquille, then I think she'll go as well.
We'll have to see as we go forward, Dave. And you know what I will say, Dave? We mentioned it yesterday as we come to the end of today's show, and we have got a Patreon, guys. If you want to get over there and support myself and Dave, it's patreon.com/CD realitycast. And the link's in the show notes. Let's see if you want to support us. We do appreciate everybody who listens to us, comments, everything. It's been really, really good, guys. And we love it when we get called out like Terence did last week. And it's all done in jest. He knows that. We know that. It's all fun. It's all good discussion points on there. And that's why we love your support. And if you want to follow us, get over to our social media channels at CD Realitycast. And if you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. So, Mr. Horrocks, we've done our bit this week for reality TV. I'm now going to rerun probably this tonight with Sam, and then I'll probably end up watching Housewives of New Jersey. I've got three reality shows on the go at the moment, Dave. But yeah, it's all fun and games, and I absolutely love it.
You need to watch the that school documentary or reality thing from my school, so we can do it for the bonus episode. Don't forget that one for our
I
Patreon
won't forget
bonus
it because
episode.
you sent me a link. Yeah, we're going to do it. Don't you worry.
Awesome, mate. Well, unfortunately, it means that it's a double whammy, really. So we've got to wait a week for the next episode of Temptation Island. And in between now and then, we've got to watch Bloody Bachelor. So,
yeah.
Well, can't wait for next week. And I'll speak to you then, mate.
Okay, mate. Take care. Bye, everyone. We've got